Deborah, hi, Jim Delaplante here. You wanted some feedback on your logo here, and you're certainly doing what I suggested that you do. I always also did like I had a tendency toward liking designs that were symmetrical. So you'll note here that the sporting goods font I do not have in my system, so it comes in with a replacement or a font that Illustrator thinks is close to, I believe it was Universe. So let's just do this. I'll replace this with another font. Yeah, Universe, LT, I don't know. So I will sort of show you a few things. So I don't like to tell you what to do to a certain degree. I just kind of try to guide you. And I just wanted to show you a few things technically that you may want to consider. Um, so with regards to alignment and duplication and editing. So I believe you had questioned how to make something italic. I did respond to that, but just in case you missed that, I want to show you how you can do that, even though, let's say a font does not have an italic version. Okay, so let's select the All Stars font, and I'll zoom in. I'm using my spacebar control, and then that gives me the zoom tool. So then what I'll do is I'll go to Object, Transform, Shear, okay? And making sure that the preview option is checked, I can go up to the shear angle here and then just kind of adjust that dial, and you can see here that you can kind of make your own italic and customize it, okay? So I'll just hit OK to that. So this sporting goods font is a replacement font, as I said. So let's just, I'll just create my own font that's kind of similar to that. I know Calibri is somewhat similar. All right, so let's say go to Calibri Bold. All right, that's kind of, and actually by default it kind of aligns left and right. So I'm going to select. Whoops. Yeah, when I do that, I'm selecting the background. So because of how your template was created, you know, when you go to click on something to select it, it automatically selects this white box back here. So what you can do to avoid that is lock it. So if I select the background here, both shapes, by clicking and dragging, you can go to Object Lock Selection or Control 2. Okay, so now there's no way you can click on it. So what I'll do here is I'll select both of these fonts here. They seem a little bit small, like, because if you squint your eyes, the eye will lead you to these stars, and that's what stands out. You want the name to stand out. Okay, so what I'll do in this case is I'll click and drag to select both, and I will scale them up. Okay, so if I go to the corner bounding box with both selected, click and start dragging. As I'm dragging, my cursor is still held down. I'm going to hold down the Shift key to constrain the proportions, and then the Alt key also to scale out from the center point. So my Shift and Alt is held down. If you're in the Mac, it's Shift and Option. My cursor is still held down. And when I'm happy with where it's at, I'm going to let go with my cursor first and then the Shift and Alt key. Okay. Then with it still selected, I could also use my arrow keys to go down or up. Okay. I could also stretch it if I wanted to, just for variation. I could pull it down like that. So you want to kind of customize it. You don't want it to look like your standard system fonts. You know, a logo is a custom design. All right, so that little bit may have helped a little bit, and maybe let me try it with a regular font. Yeah, see, you have even weight here, but again, you know, the weight of these stars is very heavy. So let's try something different here. All right, I'm going to give this a stroke. This is a way of creating something that gives this star a stroke. Here's one way of doing it. So I'm going to copy that star, Control C, and I'm going to paste it in front of itself, Control F. So I just pasted a copy of itself in front of itself. And now I'm going to swap. Right now that star has a black fill with no stroke. I'm going to swap it so it has a black outline with no fill. Okay? Then I'll go to any corner click and start dragging outward. As I'm dragging, I'm holding on the Shift key to constrain it again, and the Alt key to scale out from the center point. And I'm looking at the star carefully, and once I get to where I'm happy, I'm going to let go with the cursor first, and then let go with the Shift and Alt key. So you can see that you have what looks like a stroke now. So you can further edit this by going to your direct selection tool. And like, for example, I don't know why you'd want to do this. I just want to show you how you can, just in case something stirs inside your creativity, the creativity portion of your brain. So I can click and drag, and I can pull this out if I want. Okay, so let's just say I wanted to make it even on both ends. I can click on this corner anchor point, okay, of the part that has the outline. And then, so note that's selected. The rest of them are hollow, all these anchor points. So now what I'll do is I'll hit my right arrow key. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. All right, it's not moving much because of the setting. So let me just go back and select this one and move that to the left. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So I'm hitting my left arrow key. So this way at least it's even. Okay, so what I'll do now is go to my preferences and change the distance that it moves when I hit the arrow keys. So edit, preferences, or Control K, and I'll go to just general here. So right here, all right, you have, this is where you can edit everything and change some settings here. I did note this in the announcement. Make sure that scale, strokes, and effects is checked. Otherwise, if you scale something down or up, the stroke will not scale along with it, and it will look distorted. Okay, so this is what the area I'm looking at looks like. Keyboard increments. That's how far it's moving when I hit my arrow key. 0.144 points. Okay, so I could, let's see, if I make this inches, actually I'm going to leave it at points. So I could, let's see, let me put a 1 in front of that. So now it will move a little further, okay? I'll hit OK, and now if I just select it, I'll hit the up arrow key, and it's moving a little further, okay? So I don't have to do as much work. But that's how you would control that. Okay, so I can just keep clicking it. Again, if I click and just drag it, I can't control the balance of it. In other words, I don't know how far to drag it. You know, I mean, I could create a guideline, but that would cause more issues. So, I mean, I'm not saying this looks like anything, but I just want to show you how you can basically edit the shapes and take it from there. So, there's also something else to consider. You may want to rest all stars on a shape, on a platform. All right, so here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to click and drag here, and actually I don't think this is going to work very well. Alright, and then I'll let go, and note that this is, because my previous shape had no fill with the black stroke, I'm going to click on, I'm going to swap this again so that it has a black fill with no stroke. So I'll swap it, alright, and then what I'll do is I'll go to Object, Arrange, and Send to the back. So I'm sending it behind the text. As you know or have realized, every time you create something in Illustrator, it's a shape that comes in on top of the previous shape. So I don't want this black box to cover my text, so I'll send it to the back. Okay, and then I'm going to go into outline mode. Control Y or View Outline, so I can see the skeleton version of this. I'll select this text, all right, and I'll make it white. So one quick way of doing it is to simply click on the default white fill black stroke, but make sure you delete, you have no stroke around any text. Okay. So if I look at this in preview mode, Control Y, that's what it looks like. Okay. So now let's mathematically align all this. All right. So I can select. I'm going to select the top text, the shape, the box, and the white text, and also the stars. So I'm going to align everything. So I can select everything by simply clicking and dragging up, as long as you're in the black selection tool. All right. Make sure it's not the white direct selection tool. So the black selection tool well, the selection tool, it will allow us to select all that. And then I'm going to go to the Align palette. So Window, Align. All right. And now I will click on the Center Align Objects, the horizontal align center icon. And everything kind of shifted over a little bit. And we now have that aligned. If I wanted to align these stars with them also, here's what I'd do. I would group these together. So I'm going to click and drag across this star shape and the trail, and hit Control G, or Object Group, right? And then I'll group this together, Object Group. All right, so now when I click on it, the entire shape is selected. Okay, let me undo that move. So now what I'll do is I'm going to click on this and shift-click this, so adding to the selection. So I have both stars and trails selected, everything selected. So I'm going to group this as one object. So Control G. So I have a grouping within a grouping. Now I can mathematically align everything by selecting it all and click on the center align option. Things may shift slightly. Okay, so there. So now, actually everything is not aligned because this does not look right. So it's because, I think, because this is not a duplicate of this. That's why. Okay, so it looks close, but they're not. I can tell by this shape in here. So what I'll do is I'll ungroup it and go here and select this, delete it, select this. I'm going to drag this to the left. I'm holding down the Shift key as I slide, and the Alt key also to duplicate. Okay, and then letting go with my cursor. I'm going to do that again. I want to duplicate this. So clicking and dragging, Shift will constrain the slide to the left, and the Alt key will duplicate it. So notice the double arrowhead. I'm now going to let go with my cursor, and then flip it. Object, transform, reflect. Okay? I'll just hit OK. And now I will slide this to the right, holding down the Shift key so it stays in, alignment with the one on the right. Okay? And I'll go to somewhere right around here. I'll visually line it up. All right, so now these are exact duplicates. Now these will all align correctly. So I'm going to click and shift-click this and group that. Control G. And now I will select everything and align it. Okay? So now everything's perfectly aligned, and so that's another alternative. Okay? Now don't forget also, mathematically aligning things doesn't mean it's right. For example, stars, all stars looks like it should be a little bit to the right. So I'm going to click on it and just hit my right arrow key a little bit. To me, that looks better. All right? I'm going to stop here because I can go on forever. I hope that helped. All right? All right, Deborah, take care. Bye.